So ladies, I have a continuation of the message that I had sent you previously titled Satan. So this is basically Satan Part 2, Further Thoughts. I know it's kind of gruesome, but you will recall, as I had stated previously, that I served as a youth director in a small Presbyterian church in Magnolia, Arkansas, and that towards the end of my tenure in that church, I began to become increasingly depressed and despondent, isolated, confused, and finally just immobilized. And I finally reached the point where I called the secretary of the church and I told her that I was sick and that I wouldn't be into work for the next few days. And so for the next 2 or 3 days, I spent the time sitting cross-legged on the couch in the house that I lived in with the television on, because I simply could not do anything else. And I think it was about day 2, maybe even early day 3, I told you previously that I began to perceive, and not so much with my senses, but nonetheless, I began to perceive a power over me that was looking down upon me and observing me. And I told you previously that I felt very strongly that that power did not like me, that that power was evil, and that that power had been responsible for much of the goings on, both in my life to a certain degree and in the church that I had been working in. But what I didn't tell you previously, and I guess these are the further thoughts, was that I felt that that power had a greater influence, a greater infiltration within the church that I had been working in and the community that that church was in than I had ever thought possible. So I began to understand one of Satan's chief attributes was that Satan, together with the powers and principalities which he controls, operate in a very stealthy fashion. And I still hold to that today. I think that if we could see the extent of the infiltration of the enemy within our communities, within our churches, and within much of the leadership of our churches, I think we would despair. And I think the main reason we do not see this is because of what I said previously, which is pride. I think that those who are the most proud, strangely enough, tend to recognize it the least. And those who are the least proud, strangely enough, tend to recognize it the most. But recognize pride we must. I feel that really, as I said previously, once again, that our biggest adversary in life, and maybe even our biggest battle, will not so much be with Satan and his demonic entourage as it will be with the pride in our lives that keeps us from seeing Satan as our primary opponent. So I think for us, the prayer that we need to offer up to the Lord on a daily basis, no matter how unthinkable and difficult it may be, is, Lord, show me my pride. And Lord, do whatever it takes to show me my pride. And I think if we pray this prayer consistently, God will do just that. And He may have to take us through some very terrible and brutal times in our lives to break us of that pride. But I think once we are broken of all of that, we will be far more effective warriors for Christ in the end. Anyway, just some additional food for thought. God bless you both.